me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got another man that sat in prison for 25 years for a crime he didn't commit. And it's the same as always. The prosecution had the evidence that could have cleared him 25 years ago and withheld that evidence. Y'all notice that pattern where they have it, but they don't disclose it just to ensure the person goes to jail and it's not even the right person? So it seems to be common practice in America to jail innocent people. At this point, they would never in a million years reveal how many innocent people have been placed in jail since there were prisons in America. The prisons went up in big numbers right after our folks left the plantation. So you went from being a slave to a criminal. And this was the whole goal. The same people that were enslaved in the country would always be the same ones going in and out of the jails. And it doesn't matter whether you committed the crime or not. You have to be the one going all the time. And they have done this to us. This is another reason for reparations. They better not ever come in my face talking about no crime and criminal and all that stuff. And you got a system this corrupt that you have set up. You can't even say this is like one of those rare things. No, it's common. Too common. I'm going to go ahead and show you this video from WTHR NBC, and I'll be right back.
Tonight, an Indianapolis man is free after spending 25 years in prison for murder.
Yeah, Leon Benson was just exonerated for the crime and walked out of a state prison in Pendleton Thursday.
Tonight at 6, our Rich Nye's been talking with the legal advocate who helped overturn his conviction. And Rich, this was a welcome outcome for Benson's team, wasn't it?
Leon Benson, now 47 years old. He spent more than half his life behind bars, wrongfully convicted of murder. On Thursday, Leon Benson was set free.
The first thing he said to us was, "The truth never dies, it's only rediscovered," which is his motto. And he was so exhilarated. Honestly, until I saw him and I could actually give him a hug, I didn't believe it. And then in that moment, it finally sunk in, and it was just an incredible feeling of relief and triumph.
Laura Bazelon at the University of San Francisco Racial Justice Clinic took up Benson's case, discovering that police failed to disclose evidence that pointed to another man as the killer. On August 8, 1998, Casey Schoen, a white man, was shot 5 times as he sat in his truck at 14th in Pennsylvania. The truck was running in drive, Schoen's foot on the brake. The key witness was a white woman delivering newspapers to a vending machine 150 feet up the street. She saw a dark-skinned black man fire shots, but admitted Benson was a light-skinned black man.
Sad to say, more than 50% of people who have been wrongfully convicted are Black. Most of them are Black men. Quite often it happens in these misidentification cases where there's a cross-racial identification and the witness is firmly convinced that he or she is absolutely right, and they're mistaken.
The case is the first exoneration since the Marion County prosecutor started the Conviction Integrity Unit in 2021. The prosecutor's office released a statement that included, "The challenges presented in this case underline the importance of why the Conviction Integrity Unit was established and why we continue to identify and remedy wrongful convictions and ensure that justice and fairness are upheld." And Bazelon says there is no physical or forensic evidence that ever tied Benson to this killing. Benson could be eligible for restitution from Indiana's exoneration fund. That can include up to $50,000 each year for being wrongfully incarcerated. You do the math.
Wow.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, y'all. So you heard the video. So this is Leon Benson, and he was jailed for 25 years for a murder. that he never committed. And as you heard, they said the eyewitness said it was a dark-skinned man, and you can see, everything that was described was opposite of what he was. And once again, the prosecution had the evidence that could have cleared him 25 years ago and decided to withhold it. To me, when a prosecutor withholds evidence that can free a person from a crime they're being accused of, that prosecutor should go to jail. They should go to jail. So, this society is perfectly fine with this happening. See, as long as it's happening to a bunch of black men and some black women, they're okay with this. They're okay with the whole thing. That's why you never hear them putting up a big fuss. You don't hear the politicians taking this up. You don't hear nothing. But we see these stories cropping up all the time. And you can't even say this is rare occasions. You can't even say that. That's an outright lie. And this is the reason for reparations. And this is the reason why you need to keep these people out of your face, preaching to you about crime and black people committing all the crime. You need to keep them out of your face, because no matter what they say, it still doesn't clear the fact that it is a systematic thing in America about putting innocent people in jail and leaving them in there for decades and decades and decades. It's standard practice in America. There is no doubt about it. We're not finding these stories and it's just random. These stories are cropping up on a regular basis. So, as you heard in the video, Leon Benson was convicted of a murder. It was overturned after the Marion County Superior Court realized he never committed any crime. So he has spent all these years behind bars, wasting his life over something that he never took part in. So his case was investigated along with legal advocates and family in order for him to get his freedom. So the first thing he said is the truth never dies, it's only rediscovered, which is his motto. So as you heard in the video. So this murder took place in 1998. And it was Casey showing a white man that was shot 5 times as he sat in his truck. And you saw, the street. It was Pennsylvania Street. And they said the vehicle was running. He had his foot on the brake when he was killed. The key witness was a white woman delivering newspapers to a vending machine, which she was 150 feet away. And she said the man she saw was dark skinned. And of course, when they did a lineup, somebody picked out Benson. All right. And you described a dark skinned man and then you picked out Benson. Go figure, right? So the key witness obviously is bad at identifying people, like many of her people are. And that's why so many are wrongfully convicted. You got bad eyewitnesses like this woman. Something happens, she can't describe anything sufficiently. So they said more than 50% of the people that have been wrongfully convicted are black. And that's by design. That's not a mistake. Most of them are black men. Quite often it happens in these misidentification cases where there's a cross-racial identification and the witness is firmly convinced that he or she is absolutely right and they are mistaken. So Benson was sentenced to 61 years behind bars, despite no physical evidence that tied him to the murder. None of the forensic evidence that they collected matched him. So they had plenty of evidence 25 years ago. They didn't even have the right person. The investigation for post-conviction relief discovered the police failed to disclose evidence that pointed to another man, Joseph Webster, as the killer. Police found Webster in the neighborhood with a .38 caliber handgun, the same gun that was used to kill Schoen. He also was carrying dozens of rock cocaine. Another witness also came forward who identified Webster as being at the scene of the shooting, but the detective did not forward that evidence to the prosecutor. You see how rotten these. It's rotten and it's so evil. This is so evil to do this to somebody and have no conscience about it either, because if you had one, you would never have done it in the first place. So you have no conscience. So the case is the first exoneration since Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears started the Conviction Integrity Unit in 2021. The prosecutor's office released a statement. Prosecutor office in this country is just as criminal as the people on the street. And we already know your cops and detectives are bigger criminals than the people they apprehend. So, in order to garner the community's trust in the criminal justice system, it is critical that the integrity of the process is maintained at every point, from the investigation through post-conviction efforts. But you don't have the community integrity. You don't have that. When did you have that? It has been a long and difficult process for everyone involved, but justice requires that we set aside this conviction. The challenges presented in this case underlie the importance of why the Conviction Integrity Unit was established and why we continue to identify and remedy wrongful convictions and ensure that justice and fairness is upheld. No, you came up with that Conviction Integrity Unit because you know you got a lot of wrongful convictions in these prisons around America. That's why you got to come up with that unit. If you were doing good work in the criminal justice system, it would be no need to have any type of unit like that. But since you're shady and you're always out here doing something wrong to somebody, you got to have a unit like that. So Benson could be eligible for an exoneration fund. A person can receive up to $50,000 for every year they were wrongfully incarcerated. That's not enough money. You need to be giving him $1 million for each year you held up this man's life and kept him behind bars for no reason. But that's the story of America, y'all. That's the story of this country. But please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.